Hi there friends. Now in this video let us talk of the causes of the rapid increase in population in India. Now there are two factors which affect the increase in population. First factor is the birth rate and second factor is the death rate. The difference between birth rate and death rate is the cause of increase in population. Let us talk in other words. If the birth rate minus the death rate is equal to population growth, right? So birth rate minus death rate is population growth or increase, right? Population increase. This means that let us take the birth rate, let us take the death rate, and let us talk of population. Right? If the birth rate is more than the death rate, then population will go up. If the birth rate is equal to the death rate, the population remains stable. And if the birth rate is less than the death rate, means more people are dying, then the population will also decrease, right? So we can say that high birth rate and low death rate has led to population increase. See, high birth rate compared to death rate, low death rate has led to an increase of our population. So first let us define what the meaning of birth rate and death rate. The birth rate depicts, means shows, the number of children born for every 1,000 people during the given year. So for every 1,000 population, how many new children are born? That is called birth rate. So let's underline the definition. The number of children born for every 1,000 people during the given year is called the birth rate of that year. So if I convert that into a percentage, the birth rate is equal to the number of live births. See, not dead births, not abortions. The number of live births during the year upon the total population, and this ratio into 1,000 will give birth rate. So birth rate is not shown as percentage, right? See, it is not shown as a percentage. But for every 1,000 people, how much is the addition taking place is shown, right? So just like the the gender ratio or the female male ratio, which is based on 1,000 male, how many female are there? Same thing appear out of 1,000 population, how many new births have taken place, right? So on the base of the birth rate, the increase in the population is known, and data on death rate, birth rate helps in deciding the population policy. If you look at this table, in 1951 the birth rate per 1,000 people in India was 39.9, quite a high number. In 2011 it has come down to 21.8. So out of every 1,000 people in India, every year 21.8 more are born. That is called birth rate, right? So birth rate is 21.8. Now that is fine if the death rate also is equal. But look at the death rate of India. If we just analyze this thing, we can say in 1951, 39.9 was the birth rate. It decreased to 21.8, right? So the reduction in the birth rate is quite slow. The main reasons for this are low level of education, the preference for male child, low income levels, etc. Seeing a little further, if you compare that with India world average, the global average birth rate was 18.5 births per 1,000 total population in 2016. So see, the world average is 18.5 births per 1,000 population, and the global death rate is only 7.8 per 1,000. The world's highest birth rate is in Niger. Niger is a country of Africa, it has 49.443 births per 1,000 people. While Japan, on the other hand, which is a developed country, has one of the lowest birth rates in the world with 8 people per 1,000 population. So you see, the lowest to highest, we can just see developed countries will normally have a lower birth rate. Like Australia will have only 3.4 births per woman, so a low birth rate. Okay, so typically less than 20 birth rate is a country having very low birth rate, right? And above 40 birth rate is a country having very high birth rate. So India is somewhat in the lesser range, right? So that's a good sign for us. Now when you talk of death rate, same thing. The death rate shows the number of people who die per every 1,000 population during a given year. So death rate is number of people who died in the given year into 1,000 divided by the total population. So the decrease in population can be understood by the death rate. Right? So if we look at the death rate of India, in 1951 it was 27.4% people per 1,000 population. In 2011 it has gone to only 7 people per 1,000 population. Meaning India has improved tremendously in health facilities, right, in medical facilities. So our death rate has come down. We are at a very low range. So compared to the developed countries also, we are somewhere there. The developed country would be 2 or 3 people per 1,000 would be death rate. India is not far behind. So medically, health facilities we have improved a lot. So death rate, because of famine control, because of improvement in the quality of life, because of nutritious food, because of better medical facilities, because of better education, improvement in medical science and research, that control of infectious disease, all these are the reasons why our death rate has gone down. Let us talk of this in little detail. Let us see about the causes of high birth rate, and then we'll talk of the causes of low death rate. Right? So first let's see a very important answer. What are the causes of high birth rate? We can divide these causes into social, economic and other factors, right? So 3 groups we can divide them. Social factors. First factor is the universality of marriage. See, we are talking of why the birth rate of India is high. Very important thing is that in India, marriage is a religious ritual, right? The aim of people, or aim of most parents, is marriage of their child. So it's a universality of marriage. To marry is considered to be a good thing. Even disabled people are made to marry. So this results in more married couples, and obviously more married couples will have a higher birth rate. Very logical reasoning. Second would be early marriage and widow remarriage. Now widow remarriage is comparatively low, it's not a big cause, but early marriage is definitely a cause, because the earlier you marry, the more sexually active years you have. Okay? And so what happens, the fertility also is quite higher at a lower age, and fertility span is also very long. Fertility span means the active years where you are sexually active or where you are reproductively active. Let's say for a woman, when you talk, menstruation starts, or menarche will start at 11 or 12 or 13, and it ends at 45. As you go about 30s, your fertility will go down. As you reach about 40s, fertility will still fall, and at 45, when menopause occurs, after that you cannot have a child. So the earlier you marry, the more fertile age, more fertile years you have. The span of years is more long, and so there will be more births, right, of children. When talk of Niger has the highest birth rate, right, because of lot of, per woman there will be around 6 to 7 children. Right? Imagine one woman on average will have 6 to 7 children in her lifespan. Then widow remarriage act also to some small extent may result in higher birth rate, but that is not actually a very big reason. Then there is a preference for a male child. India, I don't know why people are mad in that. Ladka chahiye. Right? Why? Because again so many social reasons. 3 reasons we are given. Right? We can take for preference of a son compared to daughter. It is believed that there is hell, Nempu and son's birth can stop them from reaching this hell. Right? So that son is there, आपको वो नरक से बचाएगा. Then for procreation, more sexual activities, and to support financially during old age. Right? So basically we want a male child. Why? Because वो हमें रोटी खिलाएगा, हमें संभाल लेगा बचपन बुढ़ापे में, हमारे बुढ़ापे में वो हमें संभाल लेगा. So preference for a male child. It's a male dominated society, and that is why if you have if a girl child is born, they'll go for a second child. Second girl आई तो third number ट्राई करेंगे, third girl आई तो चौथा नंबर भी ट्राई करेंगे, पांचवा गर्ल आया छठा ट्राई करेंगे, छठा बॉय आया बाद में ब्रेक लगा देंगे. बट इफ द बॉय कम्स एट द नंबर 1, देन फिनिश, देन चलेगा. अब एक दूसरा लाओ या ना लाओ इररिलेवेंट, बाद में वो लड़की मांगेंगे. ठीक है, दूसरा लड़का है तो भयो भयो अच्छा है, चलो लड़की चाहिए ही नहीं. सो दैट इज द प्रेफरेंस. This happens in most customs, right? Most societies of India. So family size becomes quite large. Then a joint family system is there. Due to what happens in rural areas, in the village areas, due to a joint family system, the financial responsibility of upbringing of child is distributed among all family members. So a child does not become a burden, right, on the parent, leading to high birth rate. Because see, in a nuclear family where a husband wife are only living and they are alone in a flat, small flat, they will prefer a smaller family. A large family is a big burden for them, financially and even otherwise. But in a joint family, it is all taken care of. Right? There's a financial burden are shared, social burden are shared, upbringing burden also are shared. Right? So that is why joint family system leads to higher birth rate or bigger families. Economic factors, if you see, low education levels. Right? If female education is less, people will not understand the need for a smaller family. And when you don't understand the need for a smaller family, the family size will tend to rise. So all over the world, education and number of children in a family have inverse relationship. More the education, less the number of children. Right? That is why in developed world we have less children, lesser families having more children, or we can say families will have one child, two child, and that too after 30 or 35 years of age. So their fertile years also are very less. Right? It is seen that compared to illiterate women who have had primary education give birth to less number of children. So imagine if girls have educated more, like middle school, secondary school, even college going girls, and who have got college education, they will prefer a smaller family. They know the importance of a smaller family. So education levels have a direct relationship, or we can say an inverse relationship. Then low income level, lesser your income, more you feel that your child is an asset. Right? So the more the children, more the assets, because वो आपके बुढ़ापे का सहारा बनेंगे. Right? So you have a more the merrier. You live on this concept. Okay, at least if you have 4-5 children, at least one will take care of you. So that is why low level income families will have more children. Then we have the high infant mortality rate. Means out of every 1,000 children born in a year, the number of child deaths before 1 year of age is called infant mortality rate. Right? So see, out of 1,000 children born in a year, the number of child deaths before 1 year of age is called infant mortality rate. And in India at 1951 it was 146 per 1,000. Now it has gone down to 41.4 per 1,000 in 2011. The data source is World Bank. So you see, the extent of infant mortality rate is quite high in India compared to other countries, but still it has come down. Right? The main reason for this high infant mortality rate is poverty, less care of girl child, lack of nutritious food, frequent abortion among women, age-old practices in upbringing of the child, inadequate medical facility, etc. Less gap between two children, and that all these things will lead to, because more children are dying, you tend to have a bigger family. The psychology was that if you have only one child and he dies, then who will take care of you in the old age? So better to have a spare child, you can say, right? 2 or 3 would be much better. Better 3 than 2. Right? More the merrier. So that at least you have some may die in early young age. Some will survive, and of them some will take care of you. And the other factors would be the high fertility rate. In in a given year, out of 1,000 females in an age group of 15 to 49 years, means active age group, sexually active age group, how many live children are given birth is called fertile rate. And in Indian population structure, the fertile rate is very high. Right? Let us analyze this speciality with reference to the age group of 15 to 49 years of the woman in India. In 1961, the average of women in this age group gave birth to 6 children. See, same like what Nigeria is facing right now. In 2011, it is 3 children. So, average woman in India is giving birth to 3 children in their lifespan. Right? In 2011, still it is high, and there are 2 reasons for this high fertility rate. Number 1, early marriage. Right? Early marriage will lead to longer fertility period for women, and the proportion of unmarried women in the total number of women in the fertile age group is very low. Unmarried women are considered to be a taboo. It is very hard for a woman to live in society and not marry, stay single. Right? Yeah, in city situation may change a little bit, but in villages it is imperative that a woman is married as early as possible. And then we have lack of family planning information. People don't know how to control their family size, how to maintain the gap between the 2 children, what family planning methods to adopt, what contraceptive methods to use. So the importance of a small family is not known, and how to form a gap between the 2 children is also not followed. So poverty, social customs, religious beliefs, all combined with low level of education has acted as obstacle to family planning. Or moreover, lack of knowledge also regarding the instrument of contraception, right? And even scarcity of these also leads to high birth rate. So we saw about high birth rate. Okay, this video is getting a little longer, but still let's finish off this topic. Let us also see the causes of low death rate. Very important cause of low death rate is the improvement in the living standard of people. Due to the rise of income of the people, more economic development has occurred, income has risen. So now people are now getting better quality food grains, better housing, better healthcare, better education. All this lead to decrease in death rate. We have a better control over epidemics also. Threatening diseases like plague, measles, tuberculosis, malaria, which raised the death rate in the beginning of 20th century, are not at all hampering us right now. We have better immunization vaccines, better programs of controlling diseases and epidemics, and that is why our death rate has gone down. And less people are dying from these epidemics. Imagine every year 2 lakh people would die, 3 lakh people would die of this plague and malaria in India once upon a time. Today no one dies of that. Have you ever heard of somebody dying from malaria? I hardly know anybody who has died from malaria. Once upon a time it was rampant. I don't remember anybody dying from TB. Yeah, they may be, definitely. Plague last time came to Surat or India in 1996, if I'm not wrong. After that, we have not seen the likes of plague also. You see, basically, these are all eliminated. There's a control on drought. Now, if there's no drought, no lack of water, then food grains are grown and hunger can be stopped. So we can grow better food supply. So considerable increase in the supply of food grains was registered after 1966 due to the Green Revolution. And so what happens now? Today India is not in deficit of food grains. We are in surplus. So we have complete control on drought. Then there's a better protection against natural calamities, and transport facilities also are better. Like natural calamities like earthquake, tsunami, landslides, floods, famines. Earlier time they led to a high death rate because we had no control over them. Today we have better control. Why? Because we have better systems of warning about these calamities, and also we have better infrastructure facilities and better technology to cope with these challenges. So easily food grain, medicines can be supplied to this calamity hit areas, and the death rate can be reduced significantly. And so these are the different causes of low death rate in India. So we saw the causes of high birth rate, and we also saw the causes of low death rate. And remember friends, these two answers are very, very important answers. So please learn them properly. We'll continue further in the next video. Bye. See you then.